guys are adventuring in the lands of Toivoa. Oh, what happened there? There we go. Specifically, you are sailing northwards as you are attempting to round the continent on your way to Ayla's homeland in a search for political power in order to speak with the Lady of Shadows in Ochokvok, which is down here. Along the way, you guys last week encountered some Sahagwin fish people that caused a bit of problems in killing one of the Fantastic Four, the ladies who had made friends and escorted Kiki al-Nazar along his path. You managed to resurrect him thanks to the efforts of Eowyn and a timely revivify. As you begin sailing this morning, what would you guys like to do?
How long is it till we hit our first stop?
You have approximately 2 more days before you arrive in Kesu.
I'm going to sit down and write a letter to my parents
Okay.
and warn them, tell them that we're coming, and tell her about my friends, because it would go to my mom, you know, how girls are to their moms. And tell her about the people that are coming with me, and I'm going to go ahead and tell her what our goals are and what we're trying to accomplish. Because I know my mom, she'd want to know. So that's what I'm doing. Then I can post it at the stop.
Okay. Cool. So, as you begin writing the letter, is there anything that Twilight would be doing? Other than driving the ship as a fantabular captain.
Absolutely.
Hair billowing in the wind.
It's glorious. It's radiant.
No, he's somewhere else.
Absolutely. This is still the same day from where we got the massive lore drop, or is this a new day?
It is the same day.
Right. He is dwelling on the multitude of information that he got, the potential ramifications, and what that means for him, and whether or not he can use any of that.
Okay. So is he brooding?
No, but he is contemplating.
Contemplating. Very well. Islar and Shunazath, what would you be doing today?
Sloan will be keeping watch, and especially after the attack, and just trying to make sure we're not sailing into anything else.
Okay.
Or if we are, sound the alarm.
Kiki al-Nazar will be in the Kiki's nest and be sleeping. We go to Covet von Sin. What would her ladyship be doing?
Since the that massive lore drop, she's been down in her berth that she shares with Twilight, and she's kind of pacing back and forth, taking notes, like stopping, sitting down at the desk, taking notes, pacing back and forth, stopping, sitting down, taking notes. And then she decides to do a legend lore.
Okay.
And she wants to know how of the relationship between children and Knight's Call.
Ooh. That's a hard one. Interesting. Okay. That would not be of legendary status. No one would be talking about that. That's a secret.
Ugh. Of course it is.
So
the
your
legend-
spell will not fire off. You will
So is it-
retain the spell. You can use it on another topic.
Well, there
because
goes that list.
that's not that's not something that would be even known to anyone other than themselves.
Oh gosh. Okay.
And I'm
She-
sorry about that. I know you guys really wanted to discover that, but legend lore specifically goes into legends and stories, etc. Secret lore, but not necessarily individuals' secrets.
Okay. So that being said, since I can't look into any more of that, she wants to know, and she will use legend lore for this too.
Okay.
She wants to know why. No. How did the Calls, Twilight's family, end up? How did they end up becoming the rulers of Shantara Grove originally?
Ooh, now that one we can answer. Absolutely. Long ago.
Ben's ready.
Long ago, the Shantaran Grove was a beautiful place where people thrived, various crafts were made, and it was fantastic. Peace ruled, and Shantara themselves graced the land, visiting the various elves and ensuring that knowledge and joy was spreading across their land. As an archfey, Shantara was kind and generally appreciated by everyone. However, Shantara eventually decided that they wanted to delegate a lot of the tasks and held a friendly tournament of martial prowess. In the tournament, hundreds of people came, not just from Shantara's island themselves, but from far across the Fey realms. They approached and had an epic combat, one-on-one, until remaining at the very end, there were two figures. Knight's Call and I forgot her name. Goodness, I have to pull her up. Oh goodness. I'm sorry, guys. 1 second. I completely brain farted on her name, and I have to pull it up. Her name. Wow, my memory just dumped. All right.
Is Twilight's mother you're looking for?
No, not Twilight's mother. I have to pull up a file here, guys. I'm sorry, because I have to get this lore right. Otherwise, I'm going to get jumped on later.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right? It was Lumiona Misty Jacket and Knight's Call.
How do you spell her name?
Lumiona Misty Jacket.
I was nowhere near close. Holy smoke.
Lumiona was very intent on gaining possession of the Shintaran Grove, the entire island, and turning it into her annexed area. She didn't enjoy the fact that she was being opposed by such an upstart as Knight's Call. After the intense combat, which involved many magical spells, enchantments, wheelings and dealings and riddles, Knight's Call managed to defeat her in a battle of wits. He made her make a moral decision, which she failed in the sight of Shantara herself. Knight's Call was declared the victor and was given dominion over the Shintaran island as a whole. Shantara herself has not been seen since, but there is a statue of Shantara in the center of the grove, which was once worshipped nearly as a god. The missing archfey is somewhere else. And Knight's Call ruled for centuries before the island fell into darkness. And that is the legend of how the Calls came to be in charge of the Shintaran Grove.
Yeah, that just answers questions, but leaves lots more. Oh boy. Well, I always thought Shantara could potentially been a person, but never an archfey. That's interesting. Wonder if Twilight knows about this. Probably does, but does he?
That's a question that you'd have to ask your husband, as he is currently sailing the ship looking like a model against the blue sky and clouds.
Well, I guess there's no better time than the present to go ask him if he knows anything about it.
Okay. So you go up on deck?
Sure.
Awesome. Are you wearing your armor and stuff?
I'm always wearing my armor.
Okay.
It's hot, it's sexy, and she keeps the wings at bay. She keeps them closed up, except for when she needs them.
Okay.
But whenever she's out and about, to make Twilight feel better, and when they're not doing any formal functions, she always wears her armor.
Okay. So Twilight, Covet Von Sin surfaces from below deck.
He walks over to Twilight, and just before she stops at the bottom of the stairs, she just kind of takes a look at his gloriousness. The hair blowing in the wind. I hope he notices. We'll see. And when she's ready, she'll walk up the stairs and stand next to him.
Okay.
Kind of bump shoulder to upper forearm. I don't know.
Okay.
Because she's short.
Sure. Twilight?
What you been up to?
Couldn't hear you.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
I gave him a rude gesture because I'm eating my dinner in the process.
Oh, well, that's fun.
I waited till right when she took a bite.
Well, that's smart.
Oh yeah. So I've been mulling over some of the information that we got about, well, your family and the whole, Vagardan and Uldren and all the things. Perchance, do you know how your family came to be rulers of Shantara Grove?
I was going to say, usually a family has generational acquisitions through activities of interaction between the patriarch and the matriarch.
Wow, you're bored. So, I don't need a birds and the bees conversation. We already know this. We already know what this is. Okay, so, but do you know the history of it, or do I need to tell you that?
I've heard the story. My father was one to regale us with his tales every once in a while.
Okay. So, he won it in a tournament, right?
If you would ask him, he'd say it was his fated destiny. Something about it was inevitable.
Okay. And I thought Shantara Grove, could have been named after a person, but an archfey. That's kind of creepy.
Are you saying that the archfey aren't people?
Oh, I never said that. Oh, God, I never said that. Oh, pale. I never said that. But what I am saying is that I thought it was probably, named after, a hero. But I guess they're a hero in some sorts. Anyway, but do you know what happened to Shantara herself? She just up and left?
I mean, after I got thrown into the portal, I'm not really sure what happened after I left the car.
Well, no, she left before you left.
They would visit periodically
Shantara herself?
during the ceremonies and the celebrations and the activities and the festivals and all the things.
Well, she's been missing, according to legend. Do you know where she could have gone?
I haven't been back to Shantara since I went through the portal.
Okay, so answer me this: who is Lumiana Misty Jacket? Who is she to your dad?
A means to an end.
Okay, so where did she rule originally?
If I would know that, Jam.
Yeah, she has her own special tower in the Fey Realms that she calls her domain. It's a very nice tower. However, she herself is a mischievous individual who likes to manipulate mortals into deals and then enslave them towards her own will. She's done so not just to mortals, but to dragons, fiends, and angels. She's a trickster and seductress. She's not a nice person, but she does have her own grove, which she calls the Misty Grove.
So she's got this tower and this grove. She calls it the Misty Grove. She's not a very nice person. She's manipulative. She's harassed fays and fiends and mortals and the like, trying to get deals, usually one-sided to her end. Maybe even leading to enslavement, perchance.
There's one job on this ship.
Wow.
By the way, I do have art for her if you guys would like to see that.
Would love to see the art. Yes.
There you go.
Wow.
Oh my. She looks so cute to be so evil.
You gotta watch out for the cute ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lumiona Misty Jacket. And for the record, she's not a new character in my campaign setting. She's been around for a long, long time.
I will actually show Covet that image using prestidigitation.
Understood.
Illusionary image.
Covet. This is a very curvaceous woman from Twilight's perspective, even more so than the art is provided here, because the last time he saw her, he was a very young man. So there might have been some embellishments and idealizations applied.
Well, cute. But
Word is that she's a seductress.
she goes around and goes, oh, the doctor dress. Oh my God. She's very upset because she realizes what had happened, what this memory is of. How old were you when you met her?
A very young lad.
Probably around the 13-year-old range, would we say, Twilight? 13,
Give or
14?
take,
Yeah.
whatever elven adolescent years are.
Yeah. So we're looking at the 14 to 20-year-old range. Before you met him, Covet.
Oh yeah,
Long
most
before.
definitely. Long time before.
But when he was first starting getting interested in girls.
Now, is this a practice conjuration of an image through prestidigitation?
I'm leaving that up to you. I'm not touching that one. Is this
Smart
a
man.
practice conjuration, Twilight's Call? Is this one that you were easily
Not.
able to recall?
No, none whatsoever.
Covet, please roll an insight check versus his deception. Gotta be 19, Covet. Covet, as you realize that he has a lot of practice with this illusion, he didn't even have to think about it. The image just appeared readily at hand. The eyebrows are real.
Yeah, that's about the only thing that's real. And when were you supposedly like thrown out of, escorted through a portal?
Or when the shadows attack.
How old were you, say then?
A young man.
That's vague.
So we shouldn't make her laugh too much. Understood.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. It's actually kind of a good thing that I'm laughing because it's forcing things to break that need to break.
Understood.
Okay, so, yeah. So she's like away and just puts her hand through the image.
All right.
The
Twilight,
image
will
fade.
you release it?
Yes.
Or will it do that little dance that you know?
I don't know what you're talking about. And the image fades.
As the image fades, it does shake a little bit. A little bit of a twerk at the end.
She gives Twilight a side eye. Uh-huh. Yeah. Well. So, wow. I have a lot to stew on right now.
Yeah? As you've essentially found his childhood poster from his bedroom.
That's interactive. Wow.
Yeah?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
At
least in his hands.
She just kind of glares at it. And she's like, I need to go write in my diary and write a couple letters.
Where are
Twilight,
you going?
she's pissed.
I'm not sure why.
Exactly. Meanwhile, while she goes off to write in her diary, Eowyn, what would you be doing today on the ship after having resuscitated one of the crew? Hopefully Eowyn's microphone's working today.
Is it working?
It is working. Awesome.
Is the quality okay?
It is very good. In fact, I think this is the best it's been.
Yeah.
Okay, I had to get a new wire for my headphones.
Okay. Well, I think it's working great. I can hear you better than ever, which is awesome. So what would Eowyn be doing?
I don't think there's much to do right now. The letters are already handled.
Okay. So would you just be enjoying this ocean voyage?
Oh, he'd be far from enjoying it. He's probably stressing.
Stressing? About what? What would he be stressing about?
The stuff with Mr. Burm.
Okay.
I don't know what else.
Understood. That's 100% valid. Cool. Well, as you guys continue to enjoy your day, the day passes and it's uneventful from here on out until sunset. Covet is rummaging through the belongings of one of the fish people. As she does so, Covet, you're going to find a variety of small bags. Each of them contains a shell. You can find 7 of the bags across the various Sahagwin.
Do they seem magical in nature, or
Roll an Arcana check.
funny?
With a 20, they are not magical. These are oysters.
Hey guys, I've got 7 bags here with 7 oysters.
Did you say oysters?
Oysters.
Oyster. Wait.
Firsters.
I'm sorry, I say it like a Marylander. Okay, let's move on. Can't help it.
She's been with her mother for 5 weeks. She's got that southern drawl back.
I do, but I also have my dad's Marylander accent, and that makes it worse.
Roll an insight check, Covet, as these oysters are easily a half pound.
Very big oyster.
Yes.
I have a 10.
These are both food and currency because it's likely that each of these oysters has a large pearl inside.
Ooh,
Um,
that'd be cool.
with that knowledge, she tries to. She goes to Islarin if she's around.
Lauren, where are you?
I'm just at the bow of the ship.
Okay, she goes to find Islarin.
Are you doing a Titanic? Prow of the ship, hair blowing in the wind?
I thought the same thing.
Is Rolmos there with you? Because if he
Oh,
is, I am
he
so
absolutely
turning around.
has to be. If Twilight's driving the ship, the newlyweds are together. Just saying.
Before she comes up to the bow of the ship, because I know that there's like this little bit of stairs and a ledge kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of she sneaks up and kind of peers to make sure that they're not doing anything that she should be interrupting. She should not be interrupting.
Well, there's a little bit of hand on butt thing. I'm not sure who's doing which. Would Islarin be doing it, or would Rolmos be doing it?
In this case, it would be Rolbos.
Very well.
We'll say she a giver or a taker.
In this case, a receiver.
Okay. So seeing that, she just comes back around the corner and just knocks really hard on the post that with the not the post, not the mast, the handrail leading up.
Okay.
Excuse me. I don't mean to interrupt the newlyweds.
Ramos
I'm gonna
takes his
interrupt.
hand off like he just got electrocuted. He's
Can I
not
come
used to
up?
performing PDA. It's like
Can I come up?
he looks at you and looks at Islarin. I believe so, yes.
I'm
Come
just,
come join us, Covet.
Ramos
Um,
looks like he got busted in the middle of something.
she walks up and stands on the other side of Islarin, catching Rolmos's eye, winks and smiles, and then just immediately goes to Islarin and says, "I found these amazing little shells. I know they're oysters, but I know that because of my cooking skills and stuff like that, I know that we can shuck them and they can be food, which would be a nice little treat. But I have a feeling there's probably a pearl on the inside. I can do it, but is there a better way than I generally know with like just shoving a blade in there and trying not to cut my hand and all that stuff?"
That should suffice.
Great.
Would you like my assistance?
I would love your assistance just because of the sole fact I will probably slice my hand into.
Ramos looks, I could show you a technique.
She looks at Islarin and she's like, "Is that okay?"
Why would it not be okay?
Oh my gosh.
I just checked. I ain't trying.
Oh my Lord.
I am scarred from things. So let's just say I'm asking permission. Okay. Yeah, Ramos, can you help a girl out, please?
He smiles. Of course. May I have one of the oysters?
She hands one over.
He pulls out a knife and goes over to the guardrail, the handrail of the ship. Placing the oyster there instead of in his hand, he wedges it against one of the belaying pins, takes his dagger and finds an opening and twists. The oyster pops open. If you do it like this against the railing, there is no chance for your hand to be injured.
The way I studied it is when you did it in your hand, you generally had like a chainmail glove on at the time. And well, I don't have one of them. So
Indeed.
I will do it this way.
The ship will not be injured by a simple poke of a dagger.
Yeah, but it's a pretty ship.
If the worst that happens to the handrails is several pokes of a dagger for oysters, it is my pleasure to have those damaged. After all, we celebrate. And he turns and shows you the inside of the oyster. And inside there is a pearl. It's worth 67 silver pieces.
Nice. Pearl.
Oh, that's really cool.
And he hands you the oyster,
That's fair enough.
pearl and all.
Awesome. I give the pearl to Islarin and say, "For your trouble." I know it's only 67 silver worth, but it's pretty, and you've got all these pretty pearls all over your hair, and yeah.
Islarin, he did really well with those fingers, prying open that oyster with his dagger.
Oh,
Barb will
no.
consider that for a second, then return her focus to Covet and say, I appreciate the gesture.
Thank you. Well, I will go and I guess open the rest of these. Thank you for the trick, Ramos. I appreciate it.
He smiles. Of course, my lady.
and she leaves the two newlywed lovebirds alone.
And he's going to go up to Slaren, and as he slides his hand onto her hip, he will lean in for a kiss. His hand now smells like fish.
As a triton
And
is not
not
necessarily
oysters?
something Soren objects to.
Right, exactly. That's the hard part here. All right. So, Covet, you have 6 more oysters.
I shall open them as he instructed.
Okay. Based off of his instructions, you will not have a chance to cut your hand.
Thank God. Thank you, MKL, because let me tell you, the last time I did that, I sliced my hand wide open. Oh,
All right. So, let's go ahead and get you to roll 6d100 to determine the total gold value of the pearls you're able to find. $284 silver worth, and one of those is a 97 silver pearl.
Wow.
One of them's garbage. Look at that.
he was sick.
He was.
I'm gonna throw that one.
You gonna throw that one over?
I'm gonna throw that oyster over, but keep the pearl.
Okay.
Yeah, he was sick. He was not having a good time.
So you have 3 pounds of oysters.
She goes and finds Ayla. And since they both are...
Point of order. How
What?
are you carrying 6 pounds of oysters in 6 shells that are open?
Very good question.
I think she got a bucket.
What about the... couldn't I carry them in the bags? Couldn't I carry the oysters in the bags that they came in?
The little, yeah, it's just all the juice will run out. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's better than it's in my hand.
Okay. Cool.
And she's prepared to mop the deck, mop the floors.
Uh-huh.
She's done getting them to the galley.
So,
So,
Covet walks in and Ayla,
Ooh, what do you have?
follow me to the galley. Oh my gosh, I'm making a mess. And she runs to the galley.
dribbling, slushing oyster juice.
Yes.
Here's a big bowl. Put it down in here.
Okay. Oh my gosh. She puts it in the bowl.
Does Ayla have a large bowl on her person?
No, we got to the galley and
Okay.
I grabbed the bowl.
Understood. Once you got to the galley. So there's a trail of oyster juice from the deck all the way down and to the galley. Understood.
I am fully aware that I am going to be mopping the floor for a long time. I am aware of this.
Oh my good. Where did you get these oysters? They're huge.
Those things that we killed, it was on them, and those apparently it's not just oyster meat, it's like food and currency because they traded the pearls on the inside of the oysters. So
Oh.
now we should cook it, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking oyster stew because there's so many of us. I mean, because we've got Romos and we've got Kiki and we've got the Fantastic Four. I think that would be the best way to go. And I
Okay.
do have all the ingredients we need.
All right. So I guess we can go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and start taking care of that while I clean up the floor.
Sure. I'll probably have it done by the time you get that cleaned up. 'Cause I imagine it goes up on deck too, doesn't it?
Yeah. But at least I have them.
All right. I can do it. I can handle it.
All right. And on top of all of that, she is going to just to make sure, because it's a lot of food, she casts guidance on her to help her out.
Okay. Awesome. Covet, This feels familiar to you. This feels very familiar and almost reassuring. It's been a long time since you delegated cooking to someone else. It's just like back at the Queen Titania's court, where you would simply ask people to cook food for you.
Except she wouldn't have to clean up after making a mess either. Oh.
True. But with guidance, Ayla, can I please get a survival check? Did we lose Ayla? Ayla's internet.
Okay, I'm back. I'm
There
back.
she is.
All right, what do I need to do?
I need a survival check as you are attempting to cook the oysters.
Me. Survival check.
Yes, ma'am.
There.
Okay. With a 13, and we add a d4. So 1d4 on top of that, please.
Or you can just click the pink button.
You can click the pink button there and roll 20.
Where's the pink button?
Directly above Ayla Taylor's roll of a 13, you'll see Covet Cast Guidance, and there should be a d4 pink button.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
Looking the wrong way.
Understood. So with a 17, you're making oyster stew, you said?
Yes, oyster stew.
This is going to be the heartiest oyster stew that you've ever made. It's going to fill everyone's bellies. You're going to even have enough for leftovers.
Wow.
What all did you put in the oyster stew other than oysters? Mushrooms?
Yes, I added some mushrooms. I put in some leeks
Okay.
for that onion flavor, and I have added a little bit of fish that we have just to flavor the broth a little bit. And of course, we still had some cream that was magically, excuse me, magically refrigerated.
Okay.
So, and I put just a little bit of white wine into it to
Awesome.
kind of brighten it up. So, yeah.
Salt and pepper, I
with the-
assume.
Yes, salt and pepper. And I put in, and I'm going to pull off a small section for Romos and Islaren and add a little bit of, add the extra potassium salt in there for them. To
Understood.
make them more comfortable. Then, of course, I've got to have some hard bread to go with it. I mean, that's just the way you got to eat it that way. So, yeah. And I also have some potatoes, and I'm going to chop those up real small and add some potatoes to it.
Okay.
So that's my oyster stew.
Cool. It is going to be delicious. As each of you are able to come down for dinner and collect yourselves a bowl of the stew, is anyone not partaking? Kiki will.
I will have to rotate or have my lovely wife bring me a bowl.
Okay.
I shall bring him a bowl.
Well, you have to feed it to him while he is driving the ship. For those who cannot see the webcam, for just a moment, she looked at him and with an eyebrow raise, just as like, really?
Well, I was going to suggest that you were taking this up to Twilight, and he's steering the ship, that perhaps maybe I could put his into a large mug.
I like that idea. This is a good idea. This is a good plan. I like this
So
plan.
I'll put his into a large mug, and he can handle it that way. Besides, I think it'll make it stay warm longer.
Okay.
I will attempt to persuade Covet to feed it to him.
She just hands him the mug and walks off.
Twilight, you need both hands in order to drive the ship.
Absolutely. We saw how well I was able to fight and both the boat and the ship, the boat and shoot archery during the last fight. I
Twilight,
really need
look,
to
a
keep
big
both hands
wave.
moving. It's for everybody's safety.
She lifts the mug to his face.
Twilight, do you accept the offering of the mug being fed to you? Is there any sood
Yes.
in the stew, Ayla?
Is there any sood in the stew?
Yes.
No.
Did you put any of the special mushrooms that you guys had collected into the stew?
Um,
Those really exotic ones that you had gathered. The rare ones that I'm sure would taste delicious.
no, there's not any in there this time.
Oh, humbug.
Sorry.
As someone who's playing charades over there.
Hey, I don't hear nothing about it. I hear about other campaigns too. So
Okay. So,
Do you have a spoon? So I don't want to make a mess all over this outfit.
she finishes her own oyster stew first, and then hands him the spoon.
Yo, I need your assistant.
Just so you know, if you make a mess all over yourself with a mug, you don't need to be steering this ship.
Well, it's a chunky stew. It can slide, especially with the back and forth and the roll of the boat.
Because Lauren will almost knock it off. Okay, so she begrudgingly feeds him with the sweetness of syrup.
okay. With the sweetness of syrup, Twilight, you are being fed while driving the ship by your wife. Can life get better?
Absolutely not. This is perfection.
This is exactly how a man would love to feel. You got this one time. You're going to have to relish this one time.
It will never happen again.
It will never happen again. I love the fact you guys can't see the webcam, but Kevin's like, all right. Well, as the sun sets, it's a wonderful evening, and you guys can go to bed cycling your watches. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to roll 1d5 because Kiki is not here. We're going to determine what happens here. 1d5. Now, Covet and Twilight, would you all go to sleep tonight?
Yes, but we only require 4 hours.
Understood. So, Islaren, as you sleep tonight and Romos is up on deck, you will begin to dream. And as you dream, you find yourself at the center of a tidal pool. Crabs, small fish swim around you. You're knee deep on the beach. It's a beautiful day, quiet, as the ocean is perfectly still, not a single ripple on the waves. You look around, you've never been here before. This place is wholly unfamiliar to you. As you look around, what would you do?
I take a look out at the water. It's so still that there's not even any waves crashing onto the shore?
None. Not even a bubble.
There's something amiss.
The only ripples
I
are in
wade
the
into the
tidal
water.
pool due to your pulse.
I want to look at the ocean more closely and um, if is there any life teeming in it?
Are you going to get up out of the tidal pool to go over towards the ocean? Okay. As you leave the tidal pool, the small fish are disappointed. They come to the edge, looking up at you, and you go towards the ocean. As you do so, you see that you see no life at the moment. You come to the very brink of the water. The temptation to place your feet in the water is strong, but you can resist it should you choose to. Your bare feet are on the soft sand. It's warm, but not hot. It's a pleasant beach itself, if only there were waves.
I look around. Is there anyone else on the beach?
You look to the left and to the right. The beach stretches to the horizon. In the very far distance, you can see black mountains, stark against the sky, and a beam of light far to the north.
That light is it's very far to the north.
Very far to the north.
Is it just like a light shining straight into the sky or out
Yes,
onto the sea?
straight up into the sky. As
Even if it's
you,
very far.
yep, as you are watching,
Okay.
clouds begin to gather, and you will feel a rumbling in the sand. Waves begin to form all around you. The beach is now active, and the beam of light draws your attention to the north. And there you see, rising from the sea, a mountain peak. The black cliffs turn brown and green and white as it rises up into the air. Looking like this. And that's when you will awaken.
Awaken with the start. And immediately I go to my journal and write down as many aspects of the dream as I can so that I don't forget it.
Okay.
And I'm gonna think about it. Was it as if like like
Need your real history check because you know how
The
fast
mount-
dreams fade. Okay, you can remember some details.
was it as if like the the mountain that was rising that was like carrying the light with it?
Yes. I'm going to allow you 3 more questions total before your memory fades of the dream.
Okay. Did that new mountain look similar to the other mountains?
It did. Yes.
I don't think I have any further questions. I think that's
Very well. Cool.
you know, a lot to dig into.
Indeed. Awesome. So, Twilight, you've been relieved of duty overnight, and it is now your shift once again this morning. Would you have faded to black last night, sir?
Best way to close out the day and to begin the next.
Covet, would you have faded to black last night?
After much convincing.
After much convincing, after the Lumiona situation and the feeding of the stew?
Yeah. There
Yeah,
had been some groveling involved.
I'm sure. It's kind of nice to have people grovel, just like they did at court, right?
Yep.
What was that?
It was a memory, but she realizes that she probably wasn't the best person.
Oh, a little bit of guilt lingering back behind there.
Probably.
Okay. Well, good morning. It's a wonderful day. It dawns partly cloudy and with a nice breeze that will keep the ship going. What would you guys like to do on this beautiful morning as Rolmos is going to head off to get some sleep and to, quote unquote, wake up Islarin? Don't do those eyebrows. I know you know exactly what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just saying. It's cute.
Twilight will try to wave Eowyn over.
Eowyn? Twilight's trying to get your attention. Would you go talk to him?
Yeah, I'll go talk to him.
Okay.
Once Eowyn approaches, Twilight will ask what they decided to do with the letters. Covet had told me some, but just curious as to what the decision was.
I already purchased the powder from them, and I will be delivering them without it.
Twilight will raise an eyebrow at the mention of the removing of the powder. So why did you remove the powder from the letters?
It wasn't right to deliver them with it.
So, got a question for you then. Just a hypothetical journey or path, if you will. If you are a known assassin and you associate or work with people of a similar profession, and you want to have some type of safeguards in place for your correspondence that only your associates know how to get around said safeguards. If that correspondence arrived and those safeguards were not in place, would you be suspicious?
I believe anyone would be suspicious.
Here's why I asked that question. If the content of the letter, and I don't know what's in there, is a actual correspondence that they don't want that information to get out in some shape, form, or fashion, Maybe that powder was meant to prevent tampering, and the recipient would know how to deal with the powder prior to receiving their letter.
Whatever consequences there is for doing this, I am ready to suffer in order to protect the party and to protect my morals.
What I'm saying is this, Aowen, is that if that's a valid letter and the recipient is prepared to deal with the powder upon arrival and that powder isn't there, that could create a volatile situation.
I'm aware.
I do ask that we're allowed to do some actual research in the library before those letters are delivered. Um, because I kind of don't want to get distracted once a potential situation occurs.
I understand. I will be delivering them near nightfall, so you'll have plenty of time.
I understand that you have decisions that you're making. Just wanted you to make sure that you had all the considerations prior to going into this.
I'm aware, and I still stand firm about my decision.
Fair enough. Um, anything else are you looking to do once we get to port?
No, I don't think so.
Are the blue cloaks trying to expand their horizons, or are they just tied to Nausha?
I believe last I heard they're just tied to nausea.
So they're not trying to expand to other locations to increase their influence and to promote security across the seaside ports?
I mean, would you want Renato's Basil around that badly?
Oh, of course not. No, absolutely. But you've spoken of your aspirations before, and I'm just wondering what your desired goal was. Whether it's increasing a spy network so that you had the latest intelligence so that you know when to boost security prior to any type of arrival in Nausha or other locations.
That is part of it. I simply want to be better protector for nausea.
Okay, fair enough. How has this excursion or adventure helping you with your eventual rise to power?
Sorry, can you repeat that? You cut out.
I'm just curious as to how this adventure is assisting in your potential rise to power later on. Is there something that we need to do while we're out and about that may assist later on?
Oh, no, there's nothing you need to do. Maybe put in a good word for me, but that's about it. I just need to prove my worth while on this adventure.
That's it? You're not looking for information or some type of artifact or something that could help leverage or power or otherwise?
I'm not looking to cheat my way to the top. I'm looking to earn it.
So adventuring is a way of building oneself, of and gaining power, expertise, knowledge, and influence. It's not a cheat as long as there's effort to put into the gaining of such thing. A cheat would be acquiring something for nothing.
I do apologize for the misunderstanding then.
The reason I ask is each one of us have our own motivations for being here, and I understand my wife's, and we got to experience some of the things that Islarn was after, and we're getting ready to go to Ayla's home island. And I was wondering if there was something along the way besides this delivery of these letters that may assist you in your own exploits or adventures.
No, there's nothing beyond this.
All right. Well, do you have any questions of me?
Sorry, that came out.
It did.
Do you
How
have
long
any
have
questions for him? No?
How long have you and Covette been working towards your end goal?
So
Wow.
that is an interesting question. So Kevin and I have been working together long before we were even married. You could say that we were almost thrown together. Whether or not that was by divine intervention or fate or some other type of manipulations, that's still to be determined. But I'd say it's going on to about 4 decades. So yeah, she's been very tolerant over the years.
I see. I hope you find yourself near it by now.
I wouldn't say that we're near. I would say that there's a potential pathway for success. Everybody's got their different machinations and or influences or variables, and the winds of fate are ever changing. We'll say that the shortest path to an end goal is never a straight line, and there's many ups and downs and ups and turvies and lefts and rights, and we eventually get to it, and the path is never what was originally understood. But we are closer now than what we ever have been, and we'll see what happens along our journey.
Oh, that's good. And I think that's a very good mindset to have in this situation.
It's been a long time since I've laid eyes on my childhood home, and while I am extremely grateful that Kevin has chosen to assist me in this endeavor, sometimes I wonder if there are other things that she needs besides I don't want to say blind pursuit or assistance, but if there are other things that she may need along this path.
Is that not something you can ask her?
At times, I will tell you that it's changed over the years. And different individuals have different aspirations or goals as their values and decision making process changes. But that's why I was curious as to what yours might be and how we could assist.
Well, thank you very much for offering, but I don't need assistance.
Well, and I don't make this often, but when the time comes, Assistance is there should you request it. I just ask that you don't request. Too late.
I will keep that in mind.
Well, you've satisfied my curiosity, and I have answered some of your questions. Anything else that we might discuss?
I don't believe so.
Then I am much obliged for your time and consideration.
So do you walk away, Erwin?
Thank you for the offer, and I'm glad I was able to satisfy your curiosity.
But of course,
All right. As the camera pans down below decks, we go to Islarin's cabin, where Romos walks in as you are writing in your journal. He looks at you, comes over, and doesn't touch you, but hovers a little bit. Is everything all right?
I think so. Do you know anything about... this is going to sound strange and out of context. Do you know anything about the Sky Islands of the past?
He looks at you and will close the door, lock it, and go to sit across from you in another chair. Yes.
I had a dream last night, and I think I saw one of them rising.
That's most concerning. Do you know which one? And from where?
I know nothing about them. It was... She tries to remember for a second, doesn't, and then scrambles to her notes. It was somewhere to the north. The only way I would be able to identify it was the beam of light that arose from its peak.
He raises an eyebrow. A beam of light.
Indeed. That I remember most clearly.
This was a dream.
It was.
That's a good omen, I hope. You see, my dear, there are many former Sky Islands that have crashed into the surface of Toivoa. And it's time to come clean, as you should know the truth. The Night Spire, the pinnacle of the Sonosian Protectorate, is a former Sky Island, willingly sunk in order to be able to influence beneath the waves. That which rises above the surface is simply the spire of the great city, as you know. But should the city ever rise, it would dwarf most of the continents and cause tsunamis across all of Toivoa, destroying most of the land masses. The Protectorate has this capacity should we choose to use it in order to end all wars and eradicate all life across the planet.
It is a dangerous power to hold.
Indeed. The Sky Island that you have seen, I believe, based off of your description, is one classified as the Endless Pinnacle, the homeland of the great dragon Amaria Rosie. Long ago,
I've heard that name
it disappeared.
several times.
Indeed.
The island or the dragon
Both.
disappeared.
We believe, based off of our research, that Amaria Rosie was slain. The Protectorate was involved in assisting in the efforts. We sent 150 ships to escort the adventurers to slay a dragon by the name of Vagradan. However, Amaria Rosie was slain in the process. They were an ally of ours. It was a great loss. For the dragon was powerful and good, brave and courageous, and guarded our ships whenever they could. If the Endless Pinnacle has risen, then it will not be long before Amaria Rosie returns. It's prophesied that eventually they will return to Toivoa to spread good fortune and wealth throughout the lands, goodwill, and make the entire area lush with prosperity. The Protectorate could benefit greatly from this. Another thing you must know. The Protectorate is no longer what it claims to be.
What do you mean?
The Protectorate is not as such a protectorate. We have annexed all of the isles that we wished to protect. They do not act independently anymore. Over the thousands of millennia that have existed, we've only been around for the past 8,000 years. During those 8,000 years, our culture, being military in nature, rewards those who perform their military service with land, a house, and a ship when they retire. You're aware of this. Unfortunately, placing houses upon isles and doing so repeatedly for 8,000 years means applying the concept of eminent domain. Thus, we have claimed the lands that we once protected, and the Protectorate may remain in name, but it is no longer that. It is an empire. An empire ruled by the tribunal. The Republic votes for the tribunal within the military ranks of the citizens. But the empire, it's far larger than we can control. Remember, we do not simply control the ships of the sea, but actually the bottom as well. And the cultures down there are numerous and many, as you're aware. Brigands like the Sahagwin that attacked us are becoming more and more popular. We try to squash them when we can, but we have grown too far. Eventually we will collapse. I just hope that we're able to remain who we are and true to the core of what the Protectorate once was. Protecting those who need our assistance instead of being expansionary.
I see what you mean. Are these two concerns connected? Do you fear that were the protectorates to lose control, that they would activate this ultimate failsafe?
I do not believe so. I believe the only time that that would take place is if the entirety of the Protectorate was threatened. If we had to raise the Night Spire, it would require that the Night Spire be under inevitable assault without a choice of winning. Or if war had engulfed all of the mainlands. In order to start fresh, we could raise the Protectorate. Not all of it, of course, but the Night Spire itself. We have the 500 bounding shards surrounding the Sky Island. It is ready to rise, but as it has not done so in 8,000 years, I'm unsure if it would function. Regardless, one way or the other, it would be devastating. Both to Toivoa
Indeed.
and to our culture.
It would be nothing less than the end of the world.
We would, of course, return to the sea once the devastation had cleared, and we could then claim the lands under proper rulership. But that would be expansionary in and of itself. Resetting Toivoa in such a way would be a terrible, terrible thing.
There are those who, even in hushed tones and whispers, contemplate its necessity, or if there were, I would fear that they were looking for an excuse to do so.
The only people who know of this, my wife, are you, me, the 3 members of the tribunal, and the former members of the tribunal themselves. As all but one of them are dead, the number remains at 6. This is a secret that was passed to me when I became head of the military.
I shall not expand that number beyond 6.
I know. But I do not like having secrets from you. Thus, when you asked of the Sky Islands, I have dreamt of one. I felt like it was time to reveal this. I do not keep secrets willingly from you. Sometimes the topics simply have not come up.
Understand. And I would understand if, in the course of duty, there were things that you had to keep from me. I understand that it would not be your preference.
We are married. As such, anything that I know you have access to. I have ensured this as the military protocol for the Protectorate, thereby ensuring that husband and wife do not have secrets between them. It is a liability, I'm sure, in some cases, but that is for the Protectorate to investigate and deal with.
And I will take it as a great sign of trust that you have confided this in me, and I will honor that trust and share it in return.
Now, about this dream, may I read your notes? About the dream, at least.
You may.
Do you hand him the notes?
I'll hand him the notes.
Okay. As you hand him the notes, he's going to peruse. What exactly do we have in the notes?
You know what? I'll write down what I wrote in my actual notes.
Okay. We can just copy
Post
pasta.
that in. Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. So you did mention the Black Mountains stark against the sky and a beam of light far to the north. So we're going to pull up the map as he's going to go over the only place that I know of that has Black Mountains. And we're going to pull up the map here. Is far, far to the south, near Fluidon in the South Sea. There's a small isle down here that no one approaches because the mountains are black and angels prevent entry into its harbors. A great Empyrean stands before the island, preventing any ships from getting there. Our swiftest scouts have been unable to pass by. We've decided to leave it alone. Even our expeditions for discovery do not go there anymore. Perhaps that is where the island that you saw float into the sky is. If that is the Endless Pinnacle indeed, then we have great hopes.
Perhaps then, after the Carrarial Islands, we are going to need to find a way to Ochakvok, and taking the coast up to Slashma Port and following the river inland would bring us in reasonable proximity to that area.
Well, if we could see the Endless Pinnacle, it would be a dream come true, would it not? Be able to see that from our childhood stories.
I think if I were to see it, it may be the greatest thing I ever saw.
Okay. Well, it would not be the greatest thing that I have ever seen.
Oh, pray tell.
That would be you.
Romos, flattery will get you a great many places, even if I recognize it as such.
what kind of places would those be? As we fade to black on
I guess
Islard
Lauren
and Ramos, we're going to go ahead and let them have their time because we don't want to go too far into that. Meanwhile, Ayla Taylor, you wake up fully rested. What would you be doing this morning, Ayla? It's going to be a beautiful day.
I think I'm just going to enjoy the sail today. We have plenty of oyster stew left over to feed us all again tonight, and I'm just going to enjoy the sunshine.
Okay. As you come up, it's going to be a great day for sunbathing.
Yeah, it probably would be, but we're getting in close to land, so I think I'm going to keep my armor on.
Okay. Awesome. As you guys have made great time, you will be approaching the shoreline. A protectorate vessel of this caliber approaching the shoreline will drive fear into anyone that sees it. How would you guys like to proceed? After this line comes out after about an hour or two.
So, is Lauren Ramos, is there some type of ambassador colors of approach that we can hoist to announce our arrival?
We do not usually approach the shoreline. It's been some time since we sent an envoy to Kesu.
So you're telling me that the Protectorate, with all of its laws, rules, regulations, policies, procedures, and methodologies, does not have an approach for an ambassador vessel to a port?
Oh, we do. The question is whether Kesu will recognize it. Covet, you have been granted inspiration by Captain Gus Gus.
I already have inspiration.
Would you like to pass it to someone else?
I would love to pass it on to. I would like to pass it on to. Let's go Aowen this time.
Okay. Eowyn, you've been granted inspiration. And
Thank you so much.
then we grant the new one to Covet.
Thank you.
Well, we can proceed with the protocols if you'd like. We should be in that area in the next several hours. We should be in sight of it in the next 4.
Yeah, at least if we adhere to the protocols, that should make certain activities easier upon approach to the port. Otherwise, I'm not sure how they would react.
Very well. Proceed with ambassadorial protocols. And the Fantastic Four women will go below decks quickly and come out fully armored and armed. Dress armor, shining in the sun. The ballistas are rolled out and drawn. Weapons are placed across all of the guardrails. The ship looks like it's going to go to war. Romos is going to go and get his armor as well. Islaren, this is standard operating procedure. This is nothing surprising to you. However, to the rest of your party, it's going to look like the crew is ready to assault Kesu. This is standard operating procedure because you want to demonstrate the strength of the Protectorate and drive fear into those who are negotiating, and you want to negotiate from a position of power instead of being viewed as weak.
So we'll see absolutely nothing amiss here.
Understood. Twilight and Covet, what are your opinions of the current situation?
Twilight sighs with disdain.
With disdain at them getting the ship ready for war?
So Twilight will understand the show of power and force to negotiate from a position of strength. However, there is a difference between a demonstration of and a threatening approach. And he would rather have a show of strength without a perceived threat as opposed to a intimidation effect.
Understood.
I agree.
Are you going to ask them to change their standard protocols? Because this is essentially a military parade on a ship.
Not necessarily a true change, even though change is good. Change is necessary at times. I mean, there's always need for a change. However, it's more of a slight alteration. So instead of pointing the ballistas at the individuals, we elevate just a little bit. Just I don't want to say softer approach, but less of a immediate approach.
Less threatening.
No, you still want that show of force.
I got that, but I don't want them thinking we're coming in there shooting straight at them.
Right. So basically not aimed at them, but like tanks driving down the street, the guns up in the air instead. Understood.
Able to be levied and engaged in a moment's notice, but not for the initial approach.
That's
So
pretty
you
much
wish
what
us to
we're doing.
demonstrate
Right.
that we could, that you wish us to demonstrate that we could exercise strength, but that we are merciful enough not to.
Absolutely. That they are alive at your privilege.
Well, they are alive because of their worth and dignity as people with souls.
Or that you allowed it.
And it is in part due to our protection that many things remain so.
Yes.
Absolutely. That they should be appreciative of the protection with which you have given them.
It is all pomp and circumstance. Ready to make allies, but defend ourselves when necessary. Protect your people as well as our own, if it should arise. But don't mess with us or you won't like it. Covet has seen this very much in the court in which she grew up with. Queen Titania was always one to show temperance when necessary, but she definitely made it clear not to mess with
All right. Is there anything you guys would like to do before approaching the port of Kesu?
Yeah. I need to talk to Leslie. Because,
We're going to talk to Leslie. Awesome. What's the worst that could happen?
yeah, I'm gonna go do this down in my berth.
Okay. Privately, huh?
Yeah. I don't know what the people of would do.
All right. So as you go down below decks and the rest of the crew is preparing to make port, you contact Leslie magically. Doors closed, I assume?
Yes.
Hello, Covet.
Hi. I wanted to give you an update.
Can you turn towards the microphone?
Sorry. I wanted to make this kind of brief because we will be making landfall soon. But I wanted to give you an update on the whole letter thing. Everyone won't tell me what's in the letters, but I fully intends on delivering the letters without the powder.
Interesting. Well, I have no insights as to what could possibly happen.
I think, and I agree with Twilight on this, that it could potentially be a fail-safe indicator. See if the letters were even tampered with, but it seems like Aowen is very determined to deliver the letters without the powder. So,
Well, then it comes down to a very simple question, Covet. Do you trust Aowen?
yes,
Then you should trust them completely. Instead of second-guessing them, support them, and deal with the consequences as appropriate.
I fully intend to. Just know that the powder was not thrown overboard.
Oh, really? What has been done with it?
My possession in a flask.
Is it ready for use?
Of course.
Then I would encourage you to use it when necessary only. It is a exceedingly powerful magical dust. You don't want to get caught in it, and the delivery must be most discreet.
Oh, absolutely. It's the letters. I will definitely keep that in mind. But I have another question for you.
Indeed.
Remember when I was having the nightmares?
Yes. Have those stopped.
They have for me. At least for now.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it.
But not for one of my companions.
Oh? Which of your companions is having bad dreams?
As of right now, all I know is Kiki asked me to look into it.
What was his dream?
He said it was across the sea, climbed up the side of the ship, came up the ship, and basically attacked him.
Interesting. Do you believe that this could be part of an insecurity as to his situation?
It could be, but I'm also afraid that it could have something to do with Shantara Grove, too.
Do you feel that? Something's wrong. And you will feel a shudder go down your spine.
What was that?
I believe your premonition may be correct. Something is wrong. I am going to have to send some agents to investigate. We need to find out what has just happened, but I felt a powerful magical surge throughout Toivoa. You felt it too.
Yes.
It feels distant and not in your direction, so you should be fine.
Which direction do you think it came from? I'm
I'm
not
uncertain,
really-
but away from you. I do not feel concern as to you, when this came through, but more like I was a shield. So on the other side of me from you.
So Australia?
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a lovely thing here. We're going to pull up the map. And we're going to zoom out on the map here because you have a map of Toivoa in your quarters, I'm sure, correct?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
You have a map of Toivoa in your quarters?
Yes.
Awesome. So if we take a lovely line and we go from you through Nausha, it's over here. Somewhere along this line, there's something. Oh, I need to show you the line. So, sorry. Somewhere between Kesu and Nausha, somewhere in this direction, there is a new powerful magical effect.
Wow.
For those of you who did not watch the other night, the Spirit Sun Fellowship, that's what we're talking about. So feel free to go watch that. It's over on YouTube and here on Twitch. And at the same time, Covet, the waves pick up. The ship rumbles. An earthquake happens. You hear from Leslie, Covet, things are moving. I don't think you are in danger from them, but they need to be dealt with. You'll have to excuse me. I am going to be sending some of my newer friends to deal with them. Do be cautious.
Understood. Be safe.
And she is going to end the connection. Now, just for the record, for you guys' benefit, these are things that are happening in other campaigns that do not affect your campaign. So just heads up. I just have to go ahead and check mark that those have happened in the world. You guys are going far away from any of those two things. All right. As you guys are coming in, Covet, are you returning to the top of the ship?
Yes. And she walks over to Twilight, just wanting the security and closeness. The magical surge unnerved her.
Twilight will tell Covet that you really need to steady yourself when you're walking on the boat. Right now, the waves have picked up, and I'm not sure if there was an earthquake or something, but there's really a disturbance on the waves.
She smiles halfway and just kind of nods absent-mindedly and just continues to think about what the potential is for Kiki's dreams.
Okay. Cool. All right. Any last second preparations? I'm just going to go down the list real quick. Ayla, is there anything you'd like to do before making port?
No, I've got my letter ready to go, so I'm good.
Cool. Islarin.
I'm just making sure that she's presenting herself as well as possible.
Awesome.
Hair perfectly done, jewelry on, all of that.
You will get a kiss on the cheek from Romos because he can't help himself. Eowyn, is there anything you'd like to do before going into Keisu's port?
No, there isn't.
Twilight's Call?
We'll steer the boat with the increased waves that are picking up.
Very well. And Covet Von Sin.
She just makes sure that her hair is perfect, and that her armor looks good, and she just looks as a lady of a court should be.
Okay. But fully in armor, not dressed in your courtly clothes.
She is there to support the. She is to give the appearance of supporting the ambassador of the protectorate.
Understood. So, as the ship surges forward, the Fantastic Four are armed. 2 of them are in the front ballista. The other 2 are in the rigging doing their thing, which is pretty dang awesome while they're in full armor. But you guys will approach the city of Keisu. As you're coming in, you see people everywhere, a little scared at the situation. People retreat into their houses as your ship pulls in. Ships begin lifting anchor and preparing to depart. From their perspective, the Shinozan Protectorate is invading. Miss Lauren, that's the impression you want them to have. So, what would you guys like to do as the ship comes in and pulls into the port with the ballista brandished? Guards come out, ready to defend the city. They look up at you.
I will.
Good.
I'll wait for them to. If they're about to say something, I'll let them.
The guards come out and are looking up at you nervously. They don't know what to do.
Okay. I will approach them. My trident is strapped to my back, but my hands are empty. And I will tell them, greetings. I'm Islarin, daughter of Denrin and Kolos, and ambassador from the Shinoza Protectorate.
They look very nervous, and one of the men goes running away.
Or anyone that I may speak to, an administrator, one in charge, so that we may be properly welcomed into port.
The men all have their eyes down and their halberds pointed forward. After a couple moments, you see the man who ran away approaching, and behind him, a woman strides proudly and very self-assured towards your ship. She's dressed in white and red and has a white and red mask over her face as she approaches. She's dressed like this.
Would Covet be able to see this from the deck?
Of course. She stands out amongst all the other people.
First off, does
Does
it look...
the mask...
Sorry, go for it. I'm sorry. I just got a little excited about it. When you're done, let me know.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Okay, so 2 questions. 1, Is this the robes of the Josasai, or is this the robes of MKO?
Both.
And the mask? Does it look
Yes,
similar to mine?
it does look similar to yours, but not near as ornate.
Is there anything on her person that would indicate whether she is strictly Josasai?
Roll an insight check. With a 22, no, she doesn't have anything specifically that marks her as Josazai, but generally.
With that, Covet slinks back a little bit to Twilight and says, "We have problems."
Now or just overall enduring?
Josasai?
You sure?
Almost 100% positive.
I thought they were further north.
Apparently, they moved south. They came as far south as Nalsha, remember?
It was led to believe that there was some influence involved in that.
He covers her mask that she's got on her belt
Okay.
a little bit. Actually, just keeps her hand on the mask for a moment, and she turns and says to Twilight, "I think it might be time for me to put this on."
Could be an interesting course of any of the event.
I'd rather them think that I am of divine power than anything else.
Are you not?
Well, according to them, anything else other than divine power is heresy. So, puts the mask on.
Okay. Sweet. Cool. Are you attuning to it?
I had attuned to it.
You're already attuned to it. Awesome. Cool. You place the mask on, so we're going to go ahead and just display the mask because that's fun. There you guys go. As the woman approaches, Lauren, you wanted to do something before we continued.
No, I was pretty much going to ask similar questions to what Covet asked, just not in even as much detail as that. So I'm all good there.
You're good? Okay.
You're welcome.
What can I say except you're welcome? All right. So as she approaches, she will come to the front of the line of soldiers who part as she approaches. Not a word has been said. She steps past them towards you, and they will back away, back into the city streets. You can still see them. They're very defensive at the situation. And she will approach the docks where you guys have parked. She will look up. Greetings and welcome to Kesu. I am Kakaitu. Kaikatu. May I know the purpose of the Protectorate's visit in our waters?
Greetings, Kaikatu. We are here to resupply traverse the seas. We do not intend to stay for very long, but we wish to make a brief stop here.
Very well. Be welcomed in our city, guests of Kesu. Should you have need, my men will serve all your needs, whatever they may be, and I am at your disposal. I will escort you wherever your party wishes to go.
I appreciate that greatly. May I ask what your role in this city is?
I am captain of the guard.
Excellent. We are honored to meet you.
It is a privilege to have the Protectorate visit our city in peace and without hostility. It is a rare thing, and I consider it a privilege and an honor to have been gifted to the presence of your company.
The honor is all mine.
Please note that spellcasting of any type within the city will be viewed in a less than hospitable light.
And we shall honor that custom and refrain from it.
Thank you. We have no desire for war with the Protectorate.
Nor do we have desire for war with Kesu or Shu.
Then we are agreed. A truce for at least a time. Until your ship has
Indeed.
left.
Absolutely.
Then come.
Would you... We will bow her head and follow.
You had a question.
Oh, I was simply going to ask if you would care to show us around the city briefly.
She, behind her mask, smiles, and you can see that through the eye sockets of the mask that she is smiling. A little bit of a grimace, as it's not often that the captain of the guard gets asked to do anything for anybody. But this is a politically powerful situation that will elevate her in the eyes of her peers. And so she's going to take the opportunity for this to escort you through the city. Where would you like to go?
Well, I personally would like to see the parts of the city that make you most proud. I would also like to visit a jeweler. And I will defer to the rest of my crew and my companions on what they may wish to see as well.
Who are your crew? Who all will be arriving aboard our fine shores?
I will introduce everyone in turn.
Okay. So let's go through that, because this type of political thing is exactly where we have to go. And that's what you guys really asked for during Session 0.
I'll start. First, this is my husband, Rolmos.
Ramos will snap to attention and bow deeply, keeping his eyes down. This is not his normal behavior, Slarin. You can tell he's being politically astute at the moment.
But I'm avoiding introducing his title for
Obvious reasons.
multiple reasons.
Right.
Uh, this is Ayla Taylor.
Lady Ayla.
And she bows short, a nice little bow.
She will tilt her head in deference.
This is Von Sin.
Von Sin. Welcome to Kesu.
She nods behind the mask.
May the dead lord guide your path, and may you not meet him soon.
And may death's time come to those who need it.
She tilts the head in acknowledgement and will bow her head and put her hands together as a ritual sign of religious acknowledgement.
She does the same.
Okay.
And this is
Oh.
my husband, Twilight. Sorry.
Your husband, Twilight. Who else is aboard your ship? She glosses over Twilight like, "Meow." Does Twilight do anything?
Twilight will actually emulate Ramos in this.
Okay. Are you sick, Twilight? Do we need to take you to the hospital?
No.
Okay. As Twilight bows his head and averts his eyes, Islarin?
I'll introduce each of the Fantastic Four in turn, but I don't actually have their names written down anywhere.
No. Okay.
But honestly, I don't think I do. I do. I don't.
The ambassador cares not for the Fantastic Four, they're mild-mannered crewmen.
They're just crew. That's all they are.
They keep Kiki entertained.
Lauren hasn't spent almost any time with them.
Kiki's
So
monopolized
true.
their time.
She may not even know their names.
Okay, so it's Althus, Aof, isn't that pronounced?
Uh-huh.
Althea? Is
Yep.
that pronounced right? And is it Vokay
Yes.
or Yoke? Okay, cool. There you go. You have your guards. There you go.
I believe it's yokai, actually, but yes.
Yokai. Okay.
Yeah.
I was close.
Yep.
I was close.
So I'll introduce each of them in turn.
Okay. And yokai, the last one, is going to actually kneel because she's from Shu originally. She's not originally from the Protectorate. And she recognizes who you guys are talking to. And will be recognized in turn by the captain of the guards. Welcome. Are there any others?
Yes. This is Aowen.
Eowyn. Eowyn, how are you behaving?
Well, internally, he was hoping Zorn would forget about introducing him. But since he's on the spot now, he'll put a hand on his chest and bow his head.
She nods. Welcome to Kesu, ambassadors and emissaries of the Protectorate. I ask that that one remain aboard your ship. And she points her finger at yokai. For we will not have a traitor on our land.
traitor. Would you care to explain?
She fled and has joined your protectorate. Would you not consider that a traitor?
I would understand the point of view that you take.
Thank you.
Okay? Will you remain aboard the ship?
Yokai nods and will stop kneeling and instead will take on the proud pose of the protectorate soldiers that are also on the ship, the other 3 of the Fantastic Four. As she got struck with a little bit of programming as to how she was supposed to behave in front of this person. And now, having been called out as a traitor, realizes there's no connection here anymore at all. This is 100% her being a protectorate soldier. So Yokai will stand proudly and remain on the ship. She'll speak up, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, Ambassador. I will remain aboard the ship. I will defend it
Thank you.
and the entire protectorate with my life."
We'll give her a nod. And I have neglected to introduce him, but Fakik Al-Nazar as well.
You see a feathered hand reach up out of the crow's nest up at the top of the mast and wave. And you'll hear, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you guys. You doing good? Oh, wow, she's pretty."
That check.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was the
You-
best.
That was
adult
awesome.
impression ever.
You were so loud that you broke the sound barrier.
Oh, yeah, she's pretty. Wow. I think I'm just going to stay on board the ship and not get in trouble. As she stares daggers up at him. Are we ready to depart? As she's taking offense to the fact that he's being so audacious.
I'm ready when you are.
She will gesture to some of the men to bring forth a gangplank to allow you guys to disembark. They'll come up and leaning up against the ship so that you guys can come down onto the docks. As you do so, she stands proudly before you and waits for whoever's coming off the ship to come off the ship. The Fantastic Four will all stay on the ship, and Kiki will as well. Very well. You wish to see what we were proud of. I would gladly show you either the temple or the Grand Library. Which would you like to see first?
I look at Twilight and Covet.
Okay. So I need to answer a message that I got. Are there any items that reflect Mosaba? No. 0 of them.
Isn't he from Shu?
There's more to that train of questioning than is involved, but she is not associated in any way with him.
No, not saying she. I'm talking about the city itself.
Oh, in the city itself? Roll a perception check. With a 23, Twilight, you will see a woman off to the side that is talking to a man. He's a little wrinkled old man huddled next to a building. We'll show you his art here real quick. He looks like this. The man has scars on the inside of his arms, and the woman has just left. He is currently bleeding and bandaging his arms. This is a standard operating practice for the various worshippers of Shu to give blood offerings to clerics and generally show their faith.
I will try to subtly draw Covet's attention to that particular interaction of the old man that's held off to the side of the street or building over there that has blood dripping from his arms with multiple scars, and say that the cleric just left that individual and it may or may not be associated with Masala.
Nods and mentally prepares that when that she mentally prepares to take a look and see if there is a temple for that individual, and make sure to stay the heck away.
Okay? You will not see a temple to Masaba here.
Okay.
That would have been eradicated, burned down, destroyed, and the land salted. You would know that.
I figured as much.
Yeah.
I figured as much.
Like,
But
it is not something that they would tolerate whatsoever.
that before we go any further, is
Sure.
that something that she would consider? Is that something that the Justice Eye would do?
Oh, yeah. They would be the ones sent to do it.
And I'm talking about the cutting of the arms for the cleric.
Oh, no. Not at all. Not at all. No. The cutting of the arms, that's a cleric of Masaba doing that. This is a underground religion that is happening off to the side, and Twilight only noticed it with a 23 because the captain of the guard doesn't notice it. If she had noticed it, the little old man would be dead.
Covet just looks at Twilight, realizing what's happening, and just shakes her head. Not because would she know of any kind of religion that would be doing this other than Masaba?
No.
So it's almost 100%.
It's a
positive that it is.
ritualist, yeah, it's a ritualistic thing that would happen specifically for the clerics of Masaba doing to the worshippers. It's like collecting a tithe. It's the offering plate. It's
She is-
communion.
She is repulsed because it is in direct opposition of her belief. She tries to find this old man that he has talked about, but with her, I rolled deception instead of perception. Sorry.
Okay.
Because Twilight is extremely subtle.
Let me roll for perception. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, she doesn't see this at all,
Nope.
even with a 12.
And the little old man
so she-
is gone by the time you look for it.
Yeah, and at that point, that's what I'm saying is that with a 12, she probably wouldn't have been able to see it anyway.
Right.
She just kind of shakes her head and like there's nothing we can do. But she still walks completely on guard.
Okay. So which have you chosen? The Grand Temple or the Library of Kesu?
The library first, please.
I was speaking to the ambassador.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought she had.
The library first, please.
Do they not know their place?
They do know their place as unions, advisors, partners.
Partners. Interesting. And she will walk you guys through the city streets.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I kind of want to stay away from the library for now.
You want to stay away from the library?
Yeah.
Are you going to tell them that, or are you going to try to break off on your own?
One second.
Sure. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, I need a stealth check, please, Aowen. Ooh. All right, here we go. We're going to roll to see if I see you. Aowen, you're able to slip away from the party and go off on your own here in the city. Cool? All right. So, the rest of you are going to head off into the town itself. Town is bustling, and you guys can easily see that there are 30 guards behind you, keeping pace and moving along the side streets, trying to stay out of view, but failing. Kaihatu will walk you guys through a variety of roads, silent unless you ask questions. She's respectful and simply doing as she's told. As you approach the library, it's beautiful. And extensive. Yes? Do I get 1 point for extensive libraries? Okay. As she walks you guys up, is there not a greater library in all of the world?
Have truthfully not seen a greater library on this continent.
It
Well-
is truly impressive.
It is. We have thousands of tomes and ancient lore within. Would you care to enter? Or are you too busy and needing in resupply?
If you would allow us entry, we would be grateful.
Allow you? It would be my honor and privilege, Ambassador, to allow you entry and to escort you within. I will apologize. The staff of the library are men. Also, your
So I
men are
will
not allowed within.
Almost say You would have us leave them unsupervised?
No, they will be remaining at the door. The guards will attend them and ensure that they do not venture into places unneeded. It's obvious she is not paying attention to the fact that Eowyn is gone. She doesn't care. Because Eowyn is such an insignificant person as a man that she doesn't care that he's gone. Doesn't even notice.
Actually, I would ask that they be allowed to attend to us as needed.
Roll persuasion check, please. With a 28, I'm not even going to bother rolling. I can't get there. So just saying. Very well. Your needs will be met. We will allow your servants to come within. As a special accommodation for the Protectorate. We will make an
I
exception to
appreciate
the
it.
rules.
And if anyone asks, I would not mind if you blamed the foreigners for not understanding your customs perfectly.
She nods. We apologize for the inconvenience, and no offense was meant. We are simply abiding by our rules. We will make an exception in this case, out of deference for you, Ambassador.
I'm grateful.
Ready to go inside?
I'm ready.
Okay. Awesome. She is going to stay out, as you guys can go inside the Grand Library of Kesu. As you guys walk in, you can smell the books. The many, many books. And the honey wax candles that are burning throughout. As you guys walk in, you're stunned for a moment at how many books are here. Before a young man approaches you with downturned eyes. Welcome to the Grand Library, matron. How can I be of service? He doesn't offer his name. And he stands there with his eyes to the floor.
May I ask your name?
You may, matron. I am Bujir, Grand Librarian of the Library of Kesu. Should it serve your pleasures?
Thank you, Bujir. I will defer to my companions on whether they wish to see anything specifically, but I would love to see a tour of the library and see what you have here.
Of course, matron. We have many books and paintings. Of course. You can easily tell, without needing to roll the insight check, that he is very nervous talking to you. Especially because you're in armor, all the other people are in armor, everyone has their weapons, and you're all foreigners. He's out of his element, dealing with such important people, dignitaries. As he bows, well, the Library of Kesu has been standing in this location for the past 75 years. It was built on decree of the Church of MKL and took 5 years to build. It is stocked with, at the moment, 47,320 books.
That is an impressive collection.
The matrons of the church ensure that we are well stocked with ancient tomes and books of knowledge for the populace.
Of course.
This here is a painting of the Lady Frost, the current high priestess of Kesu. In the picture, you see a woman with long, red, dark hair. She's a little scary. She's looking over her shoulder at you, and it's unnerving because the artist has done such a good job of the eyes that you feel like you are being watched. If you come with me, I would show you a map of the world. And he will take you to a 8-foot wide map of Toivoa. However, Shu itself is far larger than it should be, and all the other countries are depicted as tiny islands off the coast. To the south, where Corlin should be, there's nothing. It's very obvious that their history is being misrepresented.
I've never seen a map quite like this before.
Our cartographers worked diligently
Yeah.
to ensure that it was accurate.
Of course, how was it surveyed?
With many magics, I'm sure. I'm unsure of how it was made, matron. I apologize. I apologize for having failed you in my knowledge. And he will draw a dagger and hand it towards you, hilt first.
You have not failed me, nor would it be within my willingness, nor within my purview to even punish you if you had. You have nothing to fear from us.
I am not afraid, matron. But I am glad I have not offended. He'll put the dagger back. We have a generous view of the harbor from the top of the library, if you would like to see.
Would love to see that.
And he will take you up to the top of the library, where there's an observation deck, which crosses as a reading room. There are large couches that overlook the open windows that look out to the sea and towards the mountains in all directions. This is the third tallest building in Kesu, save for the palace and for the temple itself. You can see your ship in the distance, armed to the teeth, and you can see the little specks of people walking across it. The 4 individuals are obviously the Fantastic Four and Kiki. As you look around, I need a perception check.
As Lauren is looking at Kiki and determining whether or not persuasion. Let me roll perception. There we go. But yeah, is he doing a soft shoe?
He is doing a soft shoe. You also see that there are fragments of clothing, little threads of torn clothing on the edges of the rooftop. Roll an insight check. With a 19, disobedient,
And a nat 20.
and a nat 20. Awesome. Disobedient and impertinent men are brought up here and publicly defenestrated from the library. For those of you unfamiliar with defenestration, they're thrown out the windows to their deaths.
Rabbit thinks to herself, that's a little harsh. Thinks to herself.
As he walks around, he will show you a refreshment station where there are cheeses and wine. This is a dichotomy of presentation to you guys, but to them it's perfectly normal. It's all the delightful things you would want in a library with the horrors of a matriarchy that's gone off the rails. Is there anything else you would like to see, matron?
I will turn to the others and indicate that and just see if they would like to speak up.
Covet nods and says she would love to see the tomes of the dragons of Toiboa, please.
The dragons. Very well.
I'm a little fascinated.
And he's going to go towards the tomes of the dragons. Someone's been peeking. So we're going to...
Oh, no, I'm specifically looking for Vagradam, but I asked for the tome to be covert.
Awesome. So he will take you towards a back room and unlock it.
Before she enters, she looks at him and says, "Am I allowed to be in here? This is locked."
Yes, matron. Anything for you. And you get the direct impression, based off of your insight, that as a woman, you can go anywhere you want, and nobody's going to stop you.
But as somebody who is not of this land,
Doesn't matter. A woman told him she went to go do this. He's going to take you to go do it. It's, you say jump, he says how high, as he's already in the air. You've never had this much power over an individual, Covet.
yeah, she doesn't know what to do with it internally, but outside she's cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah, remember, this guy literally offered his life because he didn't know the answer to a question.
She appreciates the assistance and says, just point me in the direction. It will be fine.
He nods and points into the room.
Okay. So she looks back at Islarn and nods and steps inside.
All right. As you walk inside, is everyone going with, or is she going in by herself? Because it's a fairly large room. It's easily a 40 by 40 room.
I won't leave her side.
I'll go in.
Go with her.
Okay.
What could go wrong? I mean, it's a locked room. Why not?
Bougier stands at the door, leaving the door open, because he's not allowed inside the room.
Why are you not allowed inside the room?
The ancient knowledges, I do not have access to them.
Well, I appreciate you showing them to me.
He nods, eyes still downturned. He hasn't made eye contact yet.
And I go and look for the book.
Awesome. It's not hard to find. You're able to look up and down the various bookcases and find a book of draconic history. Exactly what you're looking for. As you pull it off the shelf, there's a word scrawled on the cover. The Religions of the Infidels. You're looking at a book that this culture would consider sacrilegious.
Before she even, like, she's holding it, but before she even opens it, she looks at Twilight and is like, if I open this, this could be very bad for us in this place politically.
Under his breath, he'll say, or you could be relieving them of this heretical text.
She looks at Islaren and walks over to her without even making sure that the book is still closed, where everybody can see that the book is still closed. And she says under her breath, again, same thing that she told us, Twilight, if I open this, this could be politically bad. You want me to open this to figure out anything?
You think that as a follower of Inkale, that it would be justifiable?
It could be. So this. So this is different from anything that I have seen before. So she looks at her and she opens the book.
Okay. All right.
And hopefully it's in alphabetical order and she can just go straight to V Vagradan.
Okay. You go looking for Vagradan, and you can find Vagradan. As you go down the list, these are not alphabetical, but I'm going to go ahead and send this all to you, Covet. Are you reading it, or are you just skipping?
I am perusing through, but of course, if she sees the name Sigeos, she's gonna pause because of Bloodsword.
Okay.
And then after that, she'll go to Vagradan.
All right. So then we will have that sent to you directly, and I'm sending this through Discord because the spacing is not going to work well in Roll20.
Fair enough.
So that is the only entry of Sigeos in this book.
That's more than I knew about Skaos. Okay, that's cool.
All right. So you're going to Vagradan.
Yep.
Sweet. As you peruse, most of what's here is fairly common knowledge. What are you looking for?
Specifically, Doldrin, the calls,
Okay.
and Vagradan himself, and if there, and possibility of control of Vagradan himself.
Okay. The information in this book will not mention Doldrin Shadowscar at all.
Okay.
The information in this book is focused on the legend of Vagradan and how he once ruled all of Toivoa after the death of Emeria Rosi. How the two heads were unified in intent and devastation was spread throughout all of Toivoa. How Vagradan visited and subdued the other Sky Islands to his will. He brought them all underneath his intent and ravaged the ground dwellers. Can I get another insight check? With a 21, this has been manipulated. The text is written from the perspective of someone other than the original author. It's been changed and edited. Someone's come in here and bleeped with the book.
And if I cast spells, then that's bad. So mending and things like that is not happening. All right. Well, I kind of figured that to begin with, just because of how askew she's seen some of the things in here
Sure.
that she's kept to herself. So it's not surprising to her. But names and stuff like that, she will make a note of it mentally, not write it down, just close it. But most of the names are names that she's already heard of before. So she's pretty happy with that.
Most of the names are not names you've heard of before.
Well, like the legend of Vagradan she has.
The Legend of Vagradan. As far as Vagradan, yes, but all those other names that you skipped past, no, you haven't heard of any of those.
No, not those. The only one I know of is Sigeos for sure.
Sure.
And of course she studies that just a little bit.
Okay.
Or that she does Vagradan, because Vagradan she sees that's just been it's what she already knows, although been tweaked by third party. But the one for Sigeos she pays more attention to.
Okay. Cool. So, are you done with the book?
I'm done with the book and I put it back on the shelf.
You
exactly
hear
where I
a
found it.
small gasp from the door. A new insight check, please.
I probably was supposed to give that to him, wasn't I? Yep, I was.
With a 26, a woman has just done work. There's a man right next to you. He expects you to kill Twilight because Twilight didn't do the work for you.
She will realize this and look at Twilight and say, that will be a lesson to you. You are to do this next time for me. Take notes.
Yes, mistress.
Covet, is there any chance that you could get used to this?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
All right. So as you smile, at least internally, do you suppress that at all?
Of course I do.
Okay.
I have to like the
You have the mask on regardless, so Twilight won't be able to see it.
sure, but I have to make sure that it does,
Sure.
because the expression sometimes through the eyes.
Of course.
So she's being very, very careful to not let her expression show
Sure.
through the eyes,
Well,
through the edges of the mask.
well, he cannot see through regardless because he's got his eyes downturned. But there's a chance that Twilight could.
Still,
Yeah. All right. Are you guys ready to leave the locked library? Or is there more knowledge you're seeking?
well, one more thing. Would there be anything on Doldrin in any of these rooms at all, or no?
You can go searching.
I would like to search.
Awesome. You will find no entries of Doldrin Shadowscar here. And it's strange for such an important figure to be completely erased.
But is it because he's male?
No. With your insight checks as well as you've been doing, we're just going to go ahead and give you this one. Someone has come through and erased his histories from here. Actively removed them from existence so that no one knows who Doldrin Shadowscar is or was. Now, why they might do that, that's going to be a mystery that we're going to let hang off in the shadows. Meanwhile,
Do I get anything from the shadows? Any whispers?
any whispers? Oh, whispers from the shadows here. From the shadows here, yes, you would be getting whispers. Now, did any of these mentions of Doldrin come out verbally, or are you searching silently?
I am searching silently for these things. I
Okay.
am being very covert about what I'm looking for, as not to potentially get suspicion from those who might do us harm.
Okay. Unfortunately, Twilight, no one knows you're looking for Doldrin Shadowscar's information. So no one knows what you're looking for because Covet's not revealing it. Is anyone else mentioning anything at all?
Not.
No? Okay.
Not me.
Not you? Okay. Cool.
Hush, hush.
Well, we are going to pan the camera away from the party as you guys are investigating the library and looking for books of knowledge. And we're going to pan the camera outside to where Eowyn is stalking through the alleyways of Kesu. Eowyn, you're able to find your way to various undesirable parts of town. As you do so, you're able to find a variety of situations. You don't really know where you're going. Where would you like to go?
I'm mainly just stalling until try and give Twilight enough time to do the research he wants.
Okay. You're stalling, okay? So, you
But,
hide out until they're done and have until nightfall, right?
Yeah, but I'm also looking around the city a bit.
Okay.
I see if there's any secondary libraries or
Of course. You're able to go and search through the city. And you're going to find your way to a variety of places. Little shops, little taverns. You find a variety of places. You're looking for another library? Or what exactly are you looking for?
just to see if there's any other libraries.
Okay. You'll find a reading room that is rather full. It looks pretty nice. We'll go ahead and show you the reading room, as there's a book club currently going on. Everyone in the establishment appears to be a woman, except for the proprietor, who is dressed in humble brown and white robes. We'll put him on the screen here. As you come to the place, he will intercept you. Sir, you cannot be here. Is there something I can do for you?
Oh, I'm very sorry. I was just looking around and appear to be a bit lost.
Oh, well, welcome. This is my establishment. The ladies here are currently performing a book club. If you'd like to return later, I can allow you access to a variety of services.
That won't be necessary.
Very
But
well.
while we're here, do you happen to know of libraries in this town?
A few, yes. We are a library of sorts. We are called the Bed of Roses.
Oh, I. One second, I'm doing something.
Yep. As people are taking notes, we're just having a bit of fun messing with them. It's good times. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Just saying the art's awesome.
Thank you. This is AI art based off of real life images. Because unfortunately, here in San Antonio, Texas, it's very hard to find an Asian reading room that looks like a fantasy place.
don't think there's anything I would need help with, but you've been so kind. May I get your name?
He smiles. I am known to the women here as Erdeni, but it's not my true name. I'll put
Ellie.
Erdeni. Yep.
May I know your true name, or is that private?
That is what they call me. My true name is Thornnettle. But I don't mind telling you my name.
I see. You said this was your establishment, correct?
Yes.
Well, it's quite a lovely setup. I might return if my stay here is extended.
Of course. Have a wonderful rest of your day, sir. I must get back to the matrons.
Of course, you too.
And you're able to exit and return back into the city streets. All right. So we're going to pan the camera back up to the library real quick. As you have gone looking around, I'm going to check in with everybody here just to see if there's anyone who's searching for other types of information. Ayla, you're in a library. Unfamiliar to you? What are we looking for? Or what would you be doing?
I would just kind of like to find some books on the cooking styles of this area and where the cuisine came from. Kind of like the history of the cuisine. I guess that's what you would call it. I don't know. Just to kind of edify my own reasons as I am writing this book.
Okay. So you're able to find an entire tome on dim sum. It has recipes, techniques, different recipes for the fillings, ranging from savory to sweet, breakfast to dessert. It's a absolute goldmine of information. Awesome. It's Lauren. You're not usually one for libraries. What would you be doing?
I think I'm gonna try to find some books on like the governmental and political aspects of Shu. Mainly trying to determine A, like how do they see themselves, and B, like who are the people who like I should know.
Okay. Cool. So you're searching for the people you should know. The person in charge here in Kesu is Lady Frost. She is a powerful Josozai and high priestess of the temple here in Kesu. She is essentially the leader of the theocracy in this city. However, she doesn't tend to flex her political power, rather delegating that to Turakina. I'll put Turakina's name in there. Shurikina is, for all intensive purposes, the mayor of Kesu and runs the place. Her office is located at the Temple of Kesu in a side arm of the temple.
Got it. Yeah, and then like, is the presentation of it all kind of like, in the same way that the map maximizes Shu's size and
Oh, yeah.
minimizes the others? Are there like histories just
It's a very
aggrandizing their deeds? And
yeah, it's a very imperial style of presentation. If you ever watched the old school The King and I, it's very much along those lines. If you've not watched it, I highly recommend it. It's the one with Yul Brynner, who is my favorite actor.
My first crush growing up.
Aw.
Yes.
Just like Lumia in a Misty Jacket for Twilight. Understood.
Yep.
Twilight, I hear you shaving your head? Not happening. But yeah, it's generally a Imperial's presentation of Shu as being the dominant nation in the world, rivaled only by the Protectorate itself. And the Protectorate is viewed and presented as this ultra high-tech threat that the Shuian military manages to dissuade from invading because they're equally matched. You know for a fact that the Protectorate at any time could just come in and invade. You have the numbers, you have the ships, you have the navy, everything you would need to absolutely take over Shu. But they are presenting it as your peers.
understandable. They're welcome to hold the opinions that they wish.
Right. And that explains why they're presenting themselves as such, as they view you guys as just nobody special, just equal to them. All right, then we go to Twilight's Call. What is the man doing in here?
Serving his mistress, of course.
Being a little toady for Twilight, for Covet?
Oh my God.
Awesome. So you're pulling books off shelves and putting them back, holding them before her to read, turning pages as needed.
Thank you, mistress. May I have another?
He swats him.
You,
All right,
Sure.
All right,
He's about to make it.
Renfro, cut it out.
everywhere you go, though, Burju is going to be walking near you. Or Bougier, sorry. As he walks, he answers any questions you have. And you're able to find most of the information you're looking for. Covet, you have a loyal, if not a little mocking servant in Twilight's Call, as he's hamming it up intensely just for the benefit of the people around. You know, nearly none of this is sincere. But his performance is fabulous. You don't think you could have gotten a better servant and slave than Twilight's Call? This is perfect. And based off of this performance, Covet, you might want to have him do this again in the future. He seems to be enjoying himself.
she thinks to herself, if he plays his cards right, she might actually feed him soup while he's steering the ship willingly.
Based off of the performance, every one of your needs is met. Twilight, will you get her refreshments?
Twilight will feed her cheese and grapes, give her sips of wine, press the napkin to the edge of her cheek.
Covet, you could really get used to this.
Yep, I'm never gonna hear the end of this once we get back to the ship. I know it.
Rolmos is attempting to emulate Twilight's call, but cannot even get close to the great performance that Twilight is doing. He'll do his best, though, Islarin. It's just not quite as
Just arch an eyebrow at
detailed.
him.
I'm sorry?
I just arch an eyebrow at him.
He will whisper under his breath so only you can hear. I would do any of this for you, regardless of being in Shu.
So, Lauren, you got a winner.
And so, as you guys pour over the tomes here in the library, we're going to fade and end the session for today. And we will come back next week for you guys to continue exploring Kesu and figure out what other secrets and lore might be here before you resupply and head out onto the seas once again.